Good evening. Hope you're all doing well. Today is day 2 of the Speak to Camera challenge. We're tasked with doing a fair bit of exercise prior to speaking to camera, just to get in the mood or at least get into the zone. I had planned on speaking about something entirely different, but as a result of spending the last hour and a half climbing, I decided to kind of go into some of that, why I decided to partake in that and actually join the sport in the last year. Why I actually still enjoy it, despite having days like today where I feel like it's a fair bit of torture. End up with my hands feeling as though they're somewhat reddened and dead, which is quite a lot. But yeah, thoroughly enjoy the challenge and just seeing what you can achieve. I think that's exactly it. So why I started, I think it's something I'd wanted to do since I was very young, actually probably at school even, so back a decade and a half ago. Never really had the time or the inclination to actually go with it, I suppose. I suppose at the time you kind of always are somewhat, or your parents are somewhat reluctant to actually engage. So when the opportunity came around over the last year, I kind of jumped at it, and that was that effectively. I think it was June this year with my birthday. I decided to actually go and basically haven't looked back. Obviously, been a few minor breaks. Ended up falling through a roof and breaking my hand about 2.5 months ago, which obviously put a bit of a damper on it for about 6 weeks. But yeah, I managed to get back into it and didn't take too long to, really get back into it. Now I was climbing better than I did before, which is fantastic. Um, yeah, obviously various different types of climbing. I think bouldering is something that we're looking at next. I want to say we, I mean me and my girlfriend, um, which obviously is a slightly different sport in that you're climbing 3 meters of a complex challenge as opposed to the traditional 25 to 30, which I think is about the norm. We kind of have the belay and the likes, which, yeah, is fantastic. I really enjoy it. Obviously, if you're terrified of heights, it's not advised. Just looking back from the top and then abseiling down can be quite terrifying if you are well, somewhat height averse. Yeah, but in terms of the climbing itself, obviously a variety of different routes and handholds. Obviously, the easier levels, or like in South Africa, we kind of look at a range of between like a 13 and a 32 in terms of difficulty. Currently, I think I'm sitting on the 21. I tried with a 22 today, which you just basically have to power through at times. Have a whole lot of handholds called crimps, which basically means you've got to just like resist land on this tiny bit of your finger here, which is fine with a couple, but it kind of gets to the top and you just can't do it anymore. So yeah, I managed to do that one, or do 121, did the 22, and then just died basically. I think fell off the wall probably about 7 times in total, which was a little bit exhausting. And then kind of get to a point where you just can't actually do anymore. So yeah, that's that. Yeah, bouldering course is scheduled for next week, Wednesday, which I think should be amazing. Kind of just open up an entirely different series of challenges, obviously without line. Problems are a little bit more complex, a little bit more in the way of gyroing or kind of having to leap effectively between one handhold and the next, which I think will be quite something. Obviously, a little bit more upside down as well, which is always quite a lot. I think there's been limited scope for that in terms of the general climbing. But on the whole, I think it's one of those that it's just you kind of leave there feeling both exhausted and invigorated at the same time, which actually is wonderful. Like I think it's just get there and you basically ready to plonk down and go to sleep. But definitely a hobby worthwhile actually trying and engaging with. So that's that at the moment. Obviously, it's a sport with lots of growth at the moment. I think there's a lot of fantastic analogies for life, just in terms of that constant uh, need to stretch effectively. It's taking a few steps forward, feeling as though you've got the hang of it, then go up a level and suddenly realize that you know nothing, and just have to deal with that. I don't know, feeling like somewhat incompetent, I suppose, although or that you thought you were fantastic and now suddenly you're just really not, um, which is quite humbling, I suppose. And I think that's it's something that I think is fantastic to actually go and experience that there and realize that I suppose with life, the more you know you don't know, is kind of a good comparison. Um, but yeah, thoroughly enjoyed. Would definitely suggest people taking it up. Uh, but obviously, very much depends on where you are and what's available. Obviously, there's always the option of doing outdoor climbing, which then suddenly is being confronted with a whole host of different problems, and at the same time having the benefits of the amazing views, which I think are always something that are quite special. Obviously, in the climbing gym, that's not really so much a thing. Kind of get to the top, occasionally get a little bit of sunshine up there, but that's about the extent of it. And then you get, the views of the peasants down below, and then have, well, basically get the rapid descent, which I suppose is a bit of a Mission Impossible moment, which is also great fun. In terms of time, it looks like that's more or less it for today. So yeah, hope you enjoyed that, and looking forward to seeing you tomorrow. Have a great one.